Welcome to the Cactus Clouds Art Studio. I'm going to show you how to make stamps from character erasers. You know, my favorite time of year is when these school supplies come in. No, I am not a teacher. Yes, I am a parent, but mostly I just really love cute school supplies. And these Smiley World things at Target really just took me back to the 90s smiley that was on everything. So I bought the sticky notes and I bought the erasers. This is like the dopamine drop of the week. It's real. The feelings are real. Okay, cuteness aside, let's get into how to carve erasers into stamps. This is like my whole thing. But recently I've been showing you all how to use character erasers that already have art on them. This is my Go Kit. It has all the supplies that I need. I have ink. I keep these little teeny tiny moleskin notepads. I have my carving blade, which has all the blades in the handle. And then I have a couple erasers in there, but we're using these cute smiley face erasers today. The linoleum carver set from Speedball is my blade of choice. You can see how tiny the blades are, and there's a little variety of interchangeable ones. It's real small, compact, and easy to take around with you. You can look closely here and see the actual size. This is the size 1 blade. It's shaped like a V, and it is my most used blade for carving erasers. I'm obsessed. This pack of erasers is the most frustrating thing I've ever opened in my life, but we got there, and look how cute. This is just, I love the colors, I love the vibe. It's so 90s, and I had a hard debate on which to carve first, and I decided to go with this little guy with his eyes squished shut because I thought that would make for a great tutorial and showing you how to carve some itty bitty detail. So the first thing that I always do, and the first thing that I always teach everyone to do, is to outline the design first. And so that's what I'm doing here, is just carving carefully, slowly, and without too much pressure around the outside of the shape. And you'll notice here that I'm holding the blade completely still and just gently turning the eraser into the edge of the blade. After carving around the outside of the design, I'm now going to carve around every other line of the design that I want to preserve. So I already carved around the outside. Now I'm carving around the inside of that main line. And after that, I will carve around both eyes and around the mouth. And I'm using my smallest, most defined itty bitty blade to do this. If you want to learn more about carving eraser art, my book is now up for pre-order. The ebook is available for immediate download, and the book comes out on October 7th of this year. And in the book, I will teach you everything that I have discovered about carving so small. It is called Pink Eraser Art, and it already has a top seller badge on Amazon, which makes me feel really special. So definitely check it out if you're enjoying this video. So when I carve out those little tiny angles, like the inside of his squished up little eyes, you'll see that I place the pointy end of the blade into that tiny detail, and I carve my way out. I never carve towards the lines as much as I can manage to, because if you slip and you cut away something that you don't mean to, in this art form, you cannot put it back. So anytime that I'm carving into something really fine, like this little smile or those little eyes, I place my blade down in the edge of the design, and then I carve away from it. And for an example in action, again, see this corner of his little mouth. I place the blade down in the corner and then I carve outward. And it is okay to carve little tiny cuts. I carved that wibbly wobbly mouth all in one cut because it is so satisfying to do it. But any time that you need to lift up the blade and just take out a little piece at a time is absolutely okay. So now we are going to go in and carve the other side of his silly little mouth. And you'll see that I'm rotating the blade and the eraser at the same time towards each other and away from each other. And it is so fun if you get these erasers, carve this mouth out and just try that motion. Now the next step is to examine the eraser, and anywhere where there's a very tight squeeze, I am using my little tiny blade to cut those areas away, because the next step is going to be taking out that tiny size 1 blade and bringing in the size 3. Now this blade has a shape that's more like a U than a V. It's more rounded, and so it takes out more of the surface area and creates a smoother cut in those wider areas. And you can see how I turned the blade a little bit on its side so that I can get out just a little bit more of that area while also carving away from those lines that I worked so hard to define. Now, if I had kept that size 1 blade on to carve out all of this area, I could do it. It would take longer and it would create a lot of raised lines, and those raised lines would print accidentally in my print. So using this wider blade, carving down a bit deeper and making that carved area as smooth as possible is going to help me get a clean print. So you can see here that I'm just carving out the rest of the space while also carving away any edges that are raised particularly high. If you watch my videos often, you will get used to the sound of my bird squawking. She has an alarm. She is an alarm. She has a squawk for if there is a cat in the yard. She has a squawk for somebody pulling into the driveway. And her different squawks are understood by my dogs, and the dogs will run outside and charge and chase everyone away. Having a bird is definitely choosing to live in a state of constant chaos, and I'm sorry if her little squeak freaks you out. Now it is time to print. My favorite ink is this Ranger's archival ink. This is what I print everything with, and I love it because they sell little refill bottles. So this is the same ink pad I've been using for 2 or 3 years with this project. So I always do a test print before I print on whatever project I'm working on. And I press very thoroughly across every part of the eraser so that I get a really clean print. And then from here, you can check for any imperfections that you want to carve out. So if you take a look at this little print, there's a few little spots that I missed. And you can just put on your size 1 blade again from there and remove all of those little areas. And then you have a cute little stamp that you can use in your journal or in your classroom. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and that you give it a try. Okay, bye!